Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Felder Rushing, and we're going to be talking about gardening. Middle of January, almost middle of January, and I know you've had some really, really warm weather in Mississippi, but where I am, it's snowing outside. Hey, Java, Happy New Year.
Same to you, Felder, man. Happy New Year. I just want to let you know, because you may not be aware, as you are, I guess, maybe halfway, a quarter of the way around the world. We're having a bit of severe weather here in Mississippi, so we may have to do some break-ins. We have some, tornado warnings.
Oh boy!
Yeah, it's rain. It's what are the weather people calling it? A weather impact day. So people are being very weather aware today, and we may have to let people know what's happening out there. But we are going to, get into some gardening. And Happy New Year to you, Felder.
Thank you, sir. I'm and let's hope it. Last year was pretty weird in a lot of different ways. And this year, I'm so glad to be here with you and all the other folks listening, because we're talking about gardening. And gardening don't care who your mama and them are, where you live. The gardening doesn't care. We are nonpartisan gardeners, and we're going to have a great time talking about whatever's going on in your garden. I know that I'm in England right now. This is where I spend part of my year, and it is snowing outside. But my heart and my mind are in Mississippi. So for the next little while, we're not talking about gardening anywhere else but the Deep South. I know we have some listeners, by the way, Java, from Portland, Oregon, and Austin, Texas. We have listeners from all over the place. And to those of you who are tuned in, whether it's live stream or listening on your radio, we welcome you, but we're going to be talking about gardening in the South. So that's what we do. So, Java, how's your year been so far?
Let's see. We are 9 days into 2026. It's still funny to think about it. I was writing some papers yesterday, and I had to pause when I got to 2026. But yeah, 9 days in, everything's rolling, man. We have the new MPB schedule we've rolled out. This Felder Rushing, the Gestalt Gardener, being 2 hours is a part of that change. We've had our local shows in the afternoon, begin some real positive feedback about that. So yeah, man, we are 2026 all the way over here at MPB.
Well, we got plenty of stuff we can talk about, that's for sure. And, the nice part, John, about having this extra 2 hours, which, by the way, I really appreciate. I did 2-hour program for close to 20 years before I came over to MPB. We were the first talk program on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Before then, I did 2 hours, and I had to sell advertisers. And so I'm just so glad to be at MPB, where we can talk about whatever we want to, regardless of any kind of commercial enterprises. But what we really depend on is having people to talk to for 2 hours. I know it's a big stretch asking some people to tune in that long. So we welcome people as you come in, you pop in and pop out. It's just a garden party. It's real informal, and you don't have to worry about, whether you're going to miss anything or not, because you can always pick it up on podcast later. That's a cool thing about this. So, in Java, I got all sorts of plans for the 2 hours, which means we can stretch things out. We can spend more time with the callers. We don't have to leave any hanging, and we can do interviews, which we're going to do the second hour with people who got things of interest to gardeners, whether they're experts, lawns, flowers, vegetables, trees, shrubs, insects, wildlife. It could be cooking. We can have guests from some of the other MPB programs. And also, I've lined up some folks in Java. You and I really haven't talked about this much, but I've been working a long time with this group called the Mississippi Gardening Facebook. And a lot of people, a lot of our listeners don't belong to Facebook. That's okay, but we've got 64,000 members of the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page. And there's some really cool ones on there. They're not experts in anything except their hobby. We got people who are really interested in wild mushrooms, people who do raised beds and composting. There's folks who like to experiment. There's folks who grow specialty cacti. And these are just what I call regular gardeners who have something to share. So we're going to spread it out and talk not just about gardening, esoteric, and horticulture stuff, but also whatever's going on in your own garden. So that's where we're going to roll. So I'm looking forward to it, Java. I think we can have a great time doing this.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get this garden party started, man. We have our first caller for the morning, and it is Steve in Memphis.
Steve, thank you. Happy New Year, and thanks for kicking off this program.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Felder. Appreciate being here.
What's up?
I'm rebuilding my backyard gardens and adding raised beds, and I'm bringing in I need to bring in a bunch of new soil, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 cubic yards. And the first couple of yards I brought in on my pickup truck, I brought in garden soil, and it seemed like it was mostly sand. I finally found some composted cotton burrs, and they've been hard to find. I've used them in the past. I just want your advice on what you think. I'm using a bunch of my old garden soil too, which is beautiful stuff I've been messing with for decades.
Yeah.
What should I bring in to add to my existing soil, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, are you doing just raised beds, or is it going to be part in the ground and part out of the ground, or what?
Just raised beds.
Yeah. If you can, if it's possible, and Java and I need to talk about this with his and his wife Crystal's garden. They start out by laying boxes on top of the ground and filling them up with stuff. And what I think is a really good idea, if it's possible, to dig down beneath and bring some of your native dirt up and then add stuff to it. Instead of just filling your box up with crackers, bring some of that good chili up and let's mix the top stuff, because real dirt has strong benefits. You know, farmers growing just plain dirt, but you can't grow a lot of vegetables like that. So either all dirt, it's not that great, all potting soil compost stuff isn't that great. You mix the two together and you'll have a lot better garden. Your plants will grow better. They're not going to need to be watered as often. The whole fertilizer better. So if you can add some real dirt, whether you dig it up or bring some in to add to your other stuff, I think that's best. Ideal would be about 50-50 real dirt and other stuff. And the other stuff can be anything. It could be the composted gin trash. It could be regular compost. It could be bark. It could be cheap potting soil. All of those have about the same effect. The chunky stuff like bark lasts longer and it has good drainage. But the other stuff like compost and manures have got real essential good stuff that the soil microorganisms like. So I prefer real dirt with some bark and some what I call organic matter, which is combination of compost, gin stuff, whatever you can find. That's the approach I would use.
Yeah, it's definitely been my plan to use a lot of the existing dirt in my yard, which is beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
But
I grow
okay
pure clay. Man, I have pure Yazoo clay in my garden. But you can drop a turning fork in it and it just sinks down to the hilt now because I've dug it 2 or 3 times over the years and added stuff, so it gets really, really creamy after the first year or so.
Yeah. But you're okay with the composted cotton? I guess you call it cotton trash. Yeah.
Yeah. The bottom. This is there's a lot of compost books on composting. There's composting websites. There's compost Facebook pages. Bottom line is organic matter is organic matter, whether gin trash, composted tree leaves, manure, all those kind of things. They have about the same effect. And the truth is, I can't really tell composted gin trash from the compost I make in my backyard out of oak leaves and grass clippings and stuff. It all breaks down to the same basic stuff. So don't worry so much about the source, but you want that general basic compost or manure to mix with the other stuff.
Okay, great. That sounds great. Appreciate it.
Hey man, I want to ask you this: when are you going to start planting?
I've already started planting. I've got a little bit of the beds done already, and I've been transplanting some lettuce plants in there already. See if they can make it through the cold.
Yeah, they can't. Memphis lettuce, and a lot of the winter greens, they have a hard time with a hard freeze. They like frost and even a light freeze. The lettuce actually gets sweeter after a frost. But in January and February, you don't have as many choices of things to grow well. If you could hold off on most of that kind of stuff until latter part of February, March, they'll produce a lot better. This time of year, if you get your hands on some kale, matter of fact, in just a few minutes, I'm going to show a picture of a really good one. Kale grows through the absolute worst winter, and you just break off leaves and cook with it, and it keeps growing. But and you can also plant some onions this time of year. If you can get the little bulbs called onion sets and put them out there. But I think in Memphis, North Mississippi, I'd wait till middle of February before I started lettuce and things because they just don't grow. They don't grow well in cold soil. They'll just tolerate cold. That's all.
Yeah, I've got a grow light inside I can start things in, so I guess I'll plant some kale in the next couple of days inside, and then transplant them outside.
Kale is great, and if you get a chance, go online and look up the kale that's called it's called lacinato. Some people call it dinosaur kale or Tuscan blue. It is a beautiful plant, and it absolutely will not freeze. It grows outside in Michigan in the winter. So anyway, let's keep, let us know what's going on. Keep us call back, okay?
All right, thank you. Appreciate it very much.
You bet. Heck yeah. Java, our first call of the year.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And you hit the nail on the head with what you have always told me and Crystal about our garden, mixing in the crackers with the chili, getting some of that good soil, that I guess regular dirt, and mixing it in with that packaged soil.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, when y'all did it, you start out with a good idea. You put this landscape, this weed barrier stuff down first, and you put on top of it, and that's generally a good idea. But next time, at least in one of the beds, what I would see is cut down inside the bed and get rid of the landscape stuff that's inside the bed, lift it up, and then dig some of that dirt and mix the stuff you got on top in with some of in other words, inside the bed, you don't need that weed barrier. Because by now, all the grass that was under there is dead as a doorknob because you've been gardening out there, over a year now, right?
Yeah, and I remember we talked a couple of days ago, the only thing that's out there are the plants that you gave us, that purple kale and that lacinato.
Well, and they're pretty plants. But anyway, the main thing is over this year, when I get back next month, we're gonna have a little project out there. As long as Crystal knows it's her garden, we're not gonna take it up. You and your dad and I are not gonna screw up Crystal's garden.
Oh, not at all, and that's not even a possibility.
Hey, let me ask you something. This is something because we have live stream now. I don't know if I should do this, but would it be possible to show pictures of our live stream producers? I've got one loaded up, photo number 1.
Yeah. No, they have been photographed and shown out. So yeah, you can go ahead and put that up. Picture what is it? Picture number 1.
That's Abram and John C.
But I do have to make an amendment because today it's actually Abram and Marissa. John C. He's missing today, but normally John C., Abram, and Marissa. She's always helping out. Our live stream producers.
I just happened to catch that picture. I was going out the door back before Christmas, but this thing about live stream, Java. A lot of people are catching on that. You can listen to this program online. You can listen to it on your radio. But also, if you go to mpbonline.org or to the Facebook, you can actually watch this. And if you can't get around to it now, you can always go back later 24/7 and just either go to mpbonline.org or go to YouTube and in the search box type in Gestalt Gardener, and you can watch what you and I do at the picture we just show of Abram and Johnsy. We'll get Marissa next time.
No, Marissa and Abram, they just popped on the screen. So yeah, and the cool thing about YouTube, because we always looking at trends and trying to stay on top of things here at MPB, a lot of people are watching YouTube from their television. Like, so if you're couch surfing or channel surfing on the couch, they are watching the Gestalt Gardener, man.
Well, I know a lot of people have trouble sleeping. They wake up at 3 in the morning, and you're not supposed to scroll on your phone and all. But this, some of the stuff we're about to talk to is guaranteed to put some people to sleep. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing every week now is well, we're going to try some different things. One is I'm going to keep going with what I call my pub talk. I talk with. I go to this pub. I have one in Mississippi and one in England, and it's not a bar. It's just where people go to relax and just chill and chat with people without really getting into too much detail. And inevitably, something about gardening comes up. And it's usually, see, but let me ask you this, Felder, are you so smart type of thing? And we end up just sort of wagging our chins, just chatting about stuff, and some of it's kind of fun. And this past week, let me see, what was it? Let me get this thing called up. The pub talk for this past week was a little bit weird. I'm at to tell you like you tell other people, keep it clean now. Oh, yeah. This week, some of my buddies were giving me a hard time about how I call scones. In England, they have scones, and I call them biscuits. And I know scones are a little bit sweeter. They usually have fruit or cheese or something, but I keep calling scones biscuits. They say, no, a biscuit means a cookie. So cookies to them are all biscuits. Anyway, that led to a thing about why Mississippi foods that I talk about are not generally available in England, while some English foods aren't available in Mississippi. And it's a cultural thing. For example, here I can get a really good personal-sized meat and potato pie or a Cornish pasty. You get roasted parsnips and Scotch eggs, which I love, fish and chips, and bangers and mash, which is basically mashed potatoes and sausage. But they have no idea about really good crispy fried chicken. They don't know anything about cornbread and biscuits with sausage gravy, pulled pork and red barbecue sauce. Never heard of a tamale or corn dog. Anyway, what I'm getting at, this led to the difference between sweet potatoes and yam, because they yams here, we eat sweet potatoes. And I don't know if, maybe this should be probably a better topic for Deep South dining, but are you ready for a deep dive in a little horticultural esoterica?
Take me there, Felder. Take me there.
Okay. I don't know if they want to put up this picture. I've got a picture someplace of, let me see if, I don't know if I got the picture. Anyway, I've got a picture of a yam and a sweet potato side by side. I found a sweet potato in a farmer's market, and the yam and sweet potatoes look alike, but the truth is they're not even related. They're both tubers, but they're different families. Sweet potatoes are native to South America, and they're related to morning glories, and just a whole different ball game. Yams are from Africa, and they're really sort of like a member of the lily family, and they have different things. Yams aren't sweet like sweet potatoes, and they have more starch, more fiber, and they're drier. This tastes more like an Irish potato, I guess. But anyway, yams can get up to like 6 or 7 feet long and 100 pounds. I can find sweet potatoes like that. But anyway, sweet potatoes are generally healthier than yams. They're higher in vitamins, and yams have more fibers. But it's just a little thing that we call sweet potatoes yams just because early on that's what they looked alike, so people call them that way. Anyway, the last little thing about this pub talk, found out there's some farmers in North Carolina, which grow about as many sweet potatoes in Mississippi. Some of them came to Mississippi and visited Mississippi sweet potato growers around Vardaman.
Vardaman, yeah,
Yeah. Well, they took some jars of dirt from around Vardaman, Mississippi, back to North Carolina State University to try to find out what makes the dirt around Vardaman make the sweet potatoes so much smoother, sweeter, tighter skin. So they've even taken our dirt to North Carolina to try to see why our sweet potatoes just better. Now, isn't that some stupid stuff to know?
Well, but Vardaman sweet potatoes, they kind of get the reputation of Smith County watermelon. So it is why, why that area produces what they produce.
Yep. Well, anyway, it's just one of those kind of oddball things. Hey, have we got any callers coming in yet?
No, but let's go ahead and go to our first break for the hour. Let's reset some things. And Kevin Farrell's back there on the phones. We got Abram Marissa on the live stream. So we got a packed house. We're just ready to talk some gardening talk.
Yeah, and by the way, I've got a pun for, while we're going into that, I've got a pun for Kevin. My daughter went to the doctor. She said she was having, I tell you what, let me just save it. I'm going to mess it up if I get to it too soon. But I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. You tuned in the Gestalt Gardener. We're starting a new 2-hour program. We got plenty of time, so give us a call. We're going to come back with some news and after a little bit of a break, and we're going to talk with you about what's going on in your garden. Stick with us, folks. We'll be right back.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, MPB and Java Chat. We welcome you. And I finally found my joke for Kevin about my daughter went to the doctor because she accidentally drank a bottle of invisible ink, right? And I said, "How's it going?" She said, "Well, I'm still at the doctor's. He's waiting to see me."
But boom.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, let's get back to having some fun. Let's talk with Jerry from. Oops, I forgot already.
Jerry from Bay Springs. I told you, man.
Bay Springs. Yeah, I know, but I'm just excited. We got 2 hours from Bay Springs. What's going on, Jerry? Hello.
Oh, not much. I know when you get older, your memory kind of fades and all.
Yeah.
I planted my broccoli sprouts probably a month ago, maybe a little longer, and they're getting up. They got a little head on them, the flower coming on, and they're starting to fall over. Now, I know you got to stake tomatoes and beans and all, but broccoli? So, I don't know, my cats may have something to do with it, but
yeah.
What should I do? Should I just pile more dirt up against it or stake it or what?
Well, these are outside, right?
Yes, sir.
The two most common reasons why normally compact plants get stretchy, one is they're not getting full sun. As long as they get 6 or 8 hours of sun, that wouldn't be the problem. But also, if you're a little bit heavy-handed with the nitrogen fertilizer, if your dirt is really rich, you're a little heavy-handed with the fertilizer. Nitrogen makes plants makes them grow vegetatively more than it keeps. In other words, too much makes them too lean and too, not very mean. So it might be that you just gave it a little too much fertilizer this year. Might want to hold back if you're heavy-handed. Usually they don't need to be staking, but it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and stake them up this year. Also keep in mind, we normally don't grow broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts this time of year. Some people do, and they have success, but they grow better in long, cool seasons, not really hot, not really cold. And so a lot of times when we plant broccoli a little bit late, that cold spell sort of hits them, it zaps them, it stops them from growing, and then they don't really pick back up very much. And sometimes if they do, they're just all leggy. So it might just be because this time of year. I think of broccoli and cauliflower and things like that as being harvested by the end of November, December, and then start again in February or March. So if you stake them up, just see what you get through the rest of this year, then I think that anything you get this time of year is a plus.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
That's just an educated guess,
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, let me ask you this. Did you buy the plants or start them from seed?
I bought them.
Yeah, next time when you get plants, this is a really oddball thing. There's a lot about horticulture that sounds mysterious. A lot of it just through trial and error. And things like broccoli, cabbage, kale, cauliflower, they're all collards, they're all in that same family. When they're small, if they ever stop growing, if they get a little too dry or a little too hot, if the little plants stop growing, they can pick back up, but they don't pick up very well. So the key to growing those things is to get them when they're small. Don't get the biggest, tallest ones you can find. Get the little small, tender ones, and then kind of push them. Keep them going with just a little bit of water. In other words, don't let them get too dry. Give them a little fertilizer time. But if you get small plants that are still kind of soft and floppy and keep them growing even, they'll grow faster and they'll produce more quickly. But if you got some that start out the kind of woody, big old thick stem and all, that'll certainly retard how they grow. So next time, don't go for the biggest ones for your money.
Okay. I got these in containers back because my garden soil is more or less scraped away and washed away because of the tornado. But
oh boy,
I have grown them real good. But I remember that when the tornado came through on April 27th of 2011, I had nice big heads of cabbage, and I had just picked my broccoli and Brussels sprouts and all. Yeah. So that was in late April when I did that. So they had done good back then.
Yeah. Well, like I say, the main thing is try to time it. You can get a good fall crop and a good spring crop. They just don't grow really well in the summer, and they really don't grow great when it's really, really cold. So, that's just something kind of work around.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks
appreciate it, man. Hang in there.
Yep. All right.
That wasn't too bad, Job. We got any more calls?
Yeah, let's see how you handle Bill from Neshoba County.
Bill from Neshoba County. Bill, what's going on, man? Are you hunkering down for the weather?
I am. It's raining like crazy here. Glad to see it.
I guess that means I asked my daughter to go by and check on some of my plants. I guess she can blow that off today.
Yeah, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. What's going on? What's up?
Okay, I got two questions. The first one shouldn't take too long. Couple of years ago, I was driving around through the backwoods of Mississippi, and I saw this black walnut tree, and it was dropping the walnuts like crazy. So I thought, well, that'd be great to be growing on the property line at my house. So I picked up a dozen or so, and waited for the skin to come off and all that kind of good prep stuff, and I just dug a line and stuck them about 6 inches apart, thinking that most of them probably wouldn't make it, but maybe one would.
That's my kind of gambling. I always plant way more because some of it ain't going to make it.
Yeah. So anyway, the next spring, nothing happened. I thought, well, geez, nothing happened. But I went out earlier this year, and there's like 5 or 6 coming up in a line. Now, is it possible that those walnuts skipped a year and then came up, or is that just some plant taking advantage of my losing the ground?
I don't know for sure, but here's something I do know: walnuts, pecans, and acorns, oaks, and things like that. A lot of the native trees that come up from seeds like that, they have to go through a couple of physiological process. I don't want to get complicated. One is exposure to cold temperatures. As one is exposed to being cleaned. The seeds need to be cleaned. A lot of times this happens when birds or squirrels eat berries and they bury them, that kind of thing. So it could have just been that yours didn't get the amount of cold that they needed to let them know it's time to sprout. So sometimes they may take a couple of years for that. What commercial growers do is they collect the seeds and they put them in bags with some real moist, just barely damp potting soil, and put them in the refrigerator to make them think they're laying out in a cold, not the freezer, but the refrigerator, to make them think they're going out of the winter. They bring them out and they sprout right away. In other words, you can fake this up, but it might just mean the yours didn't get quite enough cold temperature that first winter, and they just needed to wait till the next year for that to happen. It's a physiology thing. That's how they tell time. They won't sprout until they've had a certain amount of cold. That might be all it is.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. What you got to do now? How close are they?
Oh, they're pretty close. They're about 6 inches apart.
Okay. How tall are they?
They're about a hand width. Was that 6 inches?
Yeah. You might want to. You can leave them in place this year, or you might want to go ahead and transplant them to where you want them to, so that because they're going to get too crowded. If you can move them the first year or two while they're still small, they get used to the new dirt and they'll actually grow better. So sometime this winter, while they're still dormant, you might want to dig them up and space them out. Put them at the same exact depth. Don't plant them deeper or anything like that. Put them maybe just a little shallower to allow for settling. But if you'll go ahead and space them out and then put a stake by them so you don't hit them with the mower this year, I bet you they'll jump this year. Really do. But I'd go ahead and transplant them while they're still dormant, sometime next couple of months.
Okay, I'll do that. Now I have.
Okay, that was one thing. You said you had something else.
Yeah. Okay. This cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, warm weather has really fooled some of my plants. I got some white flowers all over one of my bushes and some yellow flowers all over another one, and I guess 2 parts to that. Are they going to come back with their usual flowering cycle in the spring, or are they shot for the year?
Well, it's a good question. Most of the time, they'll still bloom. It's not unusual to have spring blooming plants, fruit trees and flowering azaleas and things like that. Sometimes when they get a certain amount of cold, again, weather temperatures affect a plant's hormones. And if they get a certain amount of cold and it warms up, they think they've been through wintertime and spring and they go in and sprout. Usually this will happen to a few of the flowers. Sometimes we see it after a hurricane in the fall. A lot of wind will whip plants around and beat them up. And this stresses the plants and it kicks them into flowering. Most of the time they go in and have plenty of regular flowers on time, though. So I would think you probably just a few of the early ones are shooting a little early.
Okay. Well, the second part of that is, has the cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, warm weather fooled the ticks? Are they going to, expire because they got caught out in the cold weather?
I heard. What kind of plants were we talking about?
Ticks. Ticks that bite me when I go out the garden.
Okay, I don't know.
Bill, are you saying chicks or ticks?
Ticks. T-I-C-K.
Oh, ticks, insects. No,
Yes.
ticks, ticks grow outside in Canada, and cold weather doesn't hurt insects at all. It might catch a few of them by surprise, but we're always going to have fleas and mosquitoes and ticks and stuff like that. There's enough of them, and they develop a little antifreeze, and some may get a little zapped, but most of the time that's not going to slow them down at all. I wish it would.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. And John, I've got another picture I want to show if we can, because a lot of people they're winding stuff up, and some people may still have, if they had a cut Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree is cut down, they may still have it out there and want to know what to do with it. And let's see if we can put picture number 2 up, if Marissa and them can put that up. This is what a Christmas tree looks like when it's been cut up into small logs, broken down into twigs, and the leaves put out as mulch. You can get mulch, firewood, and kindling from one Christmas. Anyway, this is just a picture. I don't know. Can they see it, John? I can't tell.
Yeah, no, it's up. I was waiting for you to ask.
This is what a Christmas tree looks like when it's being cut up. And think of all the mulch and the little firewood and kindling you can do with that. So I just want to throw that out. A lot of people throw the Christmas trees away, or they dump them over the back of the fence, or they have them hauled off. If you just take some loppers and cut the limbs off, you can lay them up under your shrubs as mulch. And then if you want to, you can actually keep the trunk itself, cut the branches back to about the size of your finger, and make it into a bottle tree that will last at least 2 or 3 years. I'm just saying, you don't have to throw it away. That's all.
It was like a deconstructed, like if you go to a quote unquote fancy restaurant, they may have like a deconstructed cheesecake or something. That was a deconstructed Christmas tree.
It's like a Lego tree, right?
I had that exact thought. Let's keep moving, Felder, because we got our cheesy tune break. I know we're on 2 hours, but we're making our way through. We have another caller on the line. We just left Neshoba County. Let's go to South Haven and talk with Rebecca.
Okay. Hey, Rebecca, good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Felder. Happy New Year. I'm so glad you're on 2 hours again. I used to listen to you in the 80s when you were on 2 hours. And
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, seems like 1 hour is just too short.
Yeah, I got to relax now. We got plenty of time to chew the fat. What you got going on? What's up?
All right, what I'm curious about, and I'm hearing about this on TikTok, and I think the lady talking about it's in Pennsylvania or somewhere, but winter sowing, and she's using milk jugs, and you cut it in half, but not all the way, and flip the top on. What I'm worried about, if you plant these seeds down here, it warms up a good bit, and stuff will go on and sprout when it's not really ready to stay a long time. She said it needs to stay below 50 degrees, and I'm like, It doesn't always stay. It's over 50 right now.
When I use cutoff, I don't use milk jugs because I don't have that much, but I use cutoff cola bottles with the bottom cut off, and you throw the cap away because you want it to stay humid and protect it from frost and cold winds, but you don't want to get steamy if the sun comes out. But are you talking about to start them indoors or outdoors, cover them outdoors? What are they doing?
Outdoors.
Yeah. One of the advantages we have here in the South, we don't take advantage of it, is we can have 2 back-to-back summer gardens, from planting to harvest to planting to harvest, 2 back-to-back gardens. My friends up in New England, Ohio, the Midwest, they only have chance, if they're lucky, for one season. They don't plant their stuff till Memorial Day. We wait till Good Friday. They wait till Memorial Day. So they have a short window for growing stuff, so they have to get a head start. We don't have to get quite as much of a head start here. But to answer your question, as long as we have a danger of frost, sudden drop in temperatures, it's good to cover tender plants up if you can. But we're talking about things that sit out in March here rather than April or May there. So I wouldn't start anything too soon. Let's get as close to the normal time to plant as you can, just to help them warm up just a couple, 3 weeks early. But it's not going to help them if you start warm weather stuff out in the cold, just cover them up. So anyway, it does help protect them from cold wind. It helps warm them up a little bit as long as you throw the cap away so it doesn't get too hot in there, like a car with the windows rolled up. But anyway, it's a good idea. They used to cover these things, cover plants up with these clear glass bells. They're called cloches. A cloche is just a glass bell that sit over these plants out in the garden before they had milk bottles. So it's a good practice, but closer to when your normal time to plant, not in the middle of the winter.
Not in January.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, if you want to start some kale or something like that, things that normally grow, but, it's not, so many people want to be the first on the block to have a tomato, okay? I take Wellbutrin, so I'm not driven that way. I don't feel like competing with that. You can plant tomatoes as late as the first week in August and still get tomatoes before fall. So people are trying to rush the season when they could be growing kale and cabbage and cauliflowers and lettuces and stuff. So grow cool season things in February, March, and April, and then plant the warm season stuff. In other words, have two different kinds of crops, cool season, the warm season. They can't do that up north. We can here.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Felder, and you enjoy your 2 hours. We'll all enjoy
Thank you. Hey, if it gets slow, call back.
All right.
Thank you. Hey, Java.
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of people are worried about putting a plant up. I got a picture I want to get on. If they can put this on, this is picture number 3. A neighbor of mine, every time he gets a frost, he takes these tarps and plastic stuff and covers all of his shrubs up, completely covers them up. I mean, I think it looks kind of cool, but and a lot of people are going to cover the plants up. There's 2 things I want people to keep in mind if you're going to cover plants. First of all, uncover when the sun comes out because it gets too hot. That can do more damage than the cold. So cover them up just during the cold spell. And second thing, if you could drape it all the way to the ground, we're not just trying to keep the cold wind off, we're trying to trap warmth rising from the soil. So it makes it like a little igloo, So have it go all the way to the ground. As the sun comes out, pull it off. Just want to throw that out. And then the other thing is, if you don't want to do that, you keep worrying about your plants, plant stuff that likes it in Mississippi. If they can put up picture number 4 here, and those on the live stream can see these. If you're not on live stream, check it out sometime. Well, this is the shrub that's blooming in my backyard right now. It's called Mahonia. Got the yellow flowers. It's Granny's chicken. Mahonia always blooms in January. We have several plants that do that. Camellias. We have right now the flowering. I can't think. Flowering quince. We have plants that naturally bloom in the winter. Plant those and don't worry about the other stuff.
That yellow was popping off of that picture, Felder. And you said that's a Mahone plant?
Mahonia. Mahonia. It's also called Oregon grape holly because when the yellow flowers fall, they have little chains of what look like blue grapes. They're not edible for us, but they're great for wildlife. It's called Oregon grape holly or Mahonia. Anyway, it's just something it's a shade plant too. If you got shade, this is a great plant for midwinter color and summer texture.
Now, Felder, that was great. I was about to set us up for our next break, but Amy from Ocean Springs has been patiently holding on, and I think we should talk with her.
Okay, Amy, we're trying to figure this out, how to time stuff now that we got extra time, but what's going on in OC?
Well, I got a quick question. I'm starting to feel like a lemon tree murderer.
Oh, no.
I've had the dream of having a Meyer lemon tree since I moved back from California, and I've killed every one of them. So what age should I plant the tree in the ground? Like what? Because I feel like maybe I did it too early.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. First of all, Meyer lemons will normally grow fine on the coast, normally fine. Every now and then a hard freeze will come along and wipe it out. A hard freeze gives them trouble in Florida. But Meyer lemons usually tolerate cold if it's in a protected place, maybe someplace that has something like a wall or a house on the north side to block those cold north winds, because our cold winds come from the north. So if you could do that, as long you can set a plant out anytime you can dig a good hole. If you dig a wide hole, and this is the key, these plants are growing in pots. Their roots go round and round in circles. And they would rather go straight out, like stick your fingers out, hands and wiggling your fingers. So if you dig a nice wide hole, maybe 3 feet across, you might feel a little silly doing it, but if you'll dig that dirt, and then when you pull the plant out of the pot, loosen up that potting soil and stir it into your dirt. Don't just pull it out of the pot and stick it in the ground, because that's 2 different kinds of dirt, and one dries out and stays wet faster than the other. So dig a wide hole, loosen up the potting soil, and then don't plant them too deep. It should do fine anytime.
Okay. Yeah, the last one, it was a cold freeze, and it seems to be growing the leaves back, but it's been 2 or 3 years, and there's no fruit growing on it. It could be something else, I guess, coming from the same hole. But
I'm not sure. Hey, there's a fellow who lives in Ocean Springs named Gary Bachman. Gary Bachman. He was the state extension home garden specialist. He's in Ocean Springs, and he grows all sorts of citrus. He's right there in Ocean Springs. Can't give you his number of contact, but if you go online and Gary Bachman, right there in Ocean Springs, he is a citrus authority, and he's right there in your hometown. He could probably help you.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I moved back from California to Ocean Springs, and they had citrus trees lining the streets and everybody's yard, and I just thought I'd love to have that, But okay.
I spent a lot of time. I lived. Gary Bachman, yeah, Bachman. If you'll shoot us an email, I can give you his contact information. I know he wouldn't mind. He's on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook. If you want to really get tuned in to how to deal with stuff here, go to the Mississippi Gardening on Facebook. I'm the administrator, and I'm telling you, we keep it nice. If somebody says something nasty or mean or whatever, we get rid of it. It's all gardening in the South, and we have a lot of people from California who will answer you about their experience in Mississippi.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Nice talking to you. Maybe my next one will live.
It's okay. And by the way, I spent a lot of time out in California. I worked at garden centers in SoCal, so I can help interpret if you need to. But let's start with local folk. These are the great community. Mississippi Public Broadcasting, Mississippi Gardening Facebook, Master Gardeners. We have a lot of really good gardening communities here. And this is just what Java and I are doing, just one way to connect real gardeners with real gardeners. Appreciate you joining us.
Awesome. Well, hopefully one day when you come to the coast, I can come meet you.
All righty. Well,
y'all have a great day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ooh, Java.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, for from Ocean Springs for bringing it. I'm gonna talk about something in the next hour where Amy it sparked my curiosity. But Felder, this garden party is off to a great start, and
the cheesy tune or anything
because the screen door keeps flying open. Let's bring in Frank from Oxford now, who wants to join the party. And good morning, Frank.
Hey Frank, what's up, man?
Hey, I've got a greenhouse, and it's planted full with jungle-like vegetation. I've got bananas and bird of paradise and all that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I've got fungus gnats.
Oh boy.
And yeah, and I am using insecticidal soap on the soil, but how do I get rid of those boogers? Because they're everywhere.
Well, first thing, and this is the Gestalt approach. We're going to call it a Gestalt gardener. First of all, if you take off your glasses, they disappear. They're really not causing any problems. They're just bothering you. They are the adults of little tiny, they look like they're little worms, they're maggots, what they are, that feed on wet, decaying organic matter. So you got little things in there that are basically eating the potting soil that's too wet. So first of all, if you'll stop watering quite as often, let the potting soil dry down an inch or two before you soak plants. Don't keep them wet all the time. Then they'll have to go down deeper, and they just don't do as well. So they're not really hurting anything. They just bother us. So that's one thing. But if you want to try to control them, you've got to either use a lot of insecticides. You could use pyrethrin, which is fairly safe for us, but any kind of good guys are out there to take them out too. You can also try little sticky traps, hung here and there to catch the adults. But there will always be fruit flies. I mean, fruit flies in fruit. There will always be fungus gnat when you have wet potting soil. Oh, that's just part of, and they're really not bothering anything. Just don't walk around with your mouth open and you'll be okay. So it takes a lot of
thing. They can fly away. I don't care.
Yeah, one other thing you can do is you can get some mulch, whether it's gravel or chipped stuff, any kind of mulch to put on top of your soil. Then that keeps it, that frustrates the adults. But don't water as often. Try to mulch a little bit, and you're not gonna have near as much problem.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Java, I didn't answer his question, but I gave him some stuff to think about. That's what Mississippi Public Broadcasting is, a think radio.
Yeah, that's the truth, Felder. And I am so overjoyed to say what I'm about to say. But Marvin from Purvis and Daniel, who's calling in now, I just want you to hold on. And we're going to bring you to the show in the next hour.
We got stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about planting bulbs indoors. I mean, I've got things. We can show you how you can grow daffodils indoors this time of year and all sorts of stuff. We're going to look at a farmers markets and deep south dining and answer questions for you. So we're going to take a little break. And Java, I don't know what we're going to do during the break. But I got my coffee and I'm ready to go. So
yeah, and also for all my people on live stream, good morning to Timothy, Margie, Carolyn, who are and Pamela, who are in the chat. For all my people on live stream, we're not going anywhere. We're going to continue the live stream up. We got a little something special for all my people on YouTube. So just stick around. But if you're listening over the air on the broadcast side, we're going to take a bit of a break. We always do our news break at 01 of the hour, just giving people the rundown. But yeah, we're gonna be back. So don't go anywhere.
What he's saying is we're not exactly sure how we're gonna handle this. We'll have it figured out next week. So stick with us.
That's about it. Yeah, Felder, wrap up the hour and then we'll come back.
All righty, folks. We appreciate you joining us. It's a little rough this first go around, but we got plenty of stuff to talk about. I've got some interesting things to show, and I know there's a lot of you who got some things you like to talk about. So stick with us, folks. We'll do a little bit of news and come back, and we will be back about 5 minutes or so after the hour with more of the Gestalt Gardener live, this kind of stuff. By the way, the picture I got behind is what it looks like outside here in northern England. So you think, I know it's rainy, it's got weird weather right now, but at least you're not having to wear this kind of stuff this time of year. So me and Java and all the other folks here at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we welcome you. And we'll be right back with hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener right after this. Okay, now this is just between me and those of you who are watching on YouTube. Java and I still, this is the first time we ever have done this, so we're trying to figure it out. So if you're watching, and Timothy, I know you're one of them. I know. So you can always email or shoot me a message or something like that. But we just want to let you know that this is going to be a time when only those of us who are watching YouTube will be able to see this right now. So anyway, just want to let you know. And by the way, here's something, you get a preview. Next time I'm going to talk about a bulb that I stole at a bar. There was a flower bouquet at a pub, so I stole the daffodil just to talk about. And do I feel bad about it? Nah, I don't. Anyway, we appreciate you sticking with us. A little bit rough this first time, but it's just us. It's just gardeners. We all do things that we would do better next time. So anyway, if you get a chance, shoot us a note either on YouTube or those of you also on Mississippi Facebook, Mississippi Gardening. Send me a note. Let me know how it went. Any suggestions on how Java and I can, because it's our party and we want input from you. We're not just, we're making this up. I hope it works really well. So anyway, one thing, and you get a preview. Let me see if I can find this. Here's something I'm going to talk about next week. Here it is, Monday, and I'm always thinking about Wednesday. Anyway, next week we're going to talk about this, marcescence. What makes leaves stick on some trees, because that was the thing that came up at the bar last night. Why some trees keep their leaves. We're going to talk about that next week. We're going to have time to prepare for it. But anyway, Java, you got anything to say to these folks?
Well, I'm gonna say I don't know if they can really hear me, but let's get back into
hey y'all.
Yeah. So
anyway.
we're gonna figure this YouTube thing out, this YouTube exclusive type of thing.
I'm glad, Java. I'm glad it's you and me, because first of all, you're the expert, and I can goof up because people expect me to. So you're the one that's having to deal with people like me, and if anything goes wrong, you can blame it on me.
Well, I'll just say 2 hours is gonna be really exciting, and for the first time of us ever doing it, the phone lines are ready to rock and roll as soon as we get out of this news break. So, Felder, we're gonna go back into the show in just a little bit, and we'll see YouTube in a couple seconds.
Okay, and if anybody's watching and can get in touch with me on the Mississippi Garden thing, let us know how it worked.
All right, good deal. See y'all in a bit, YouTube.
Folks, welcome back. And this is the first time it's ever been said on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Welcome back to hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener. We're glad you joined us, and we've got a lot of folks are on the line, and I appreciate that. Me and Java do, all the folks at MPB do, and we're going to get to you. I've only got a couple of things I want to share otherwise during the program, and one is, how do you get to grow these things in vases indoors? I'll give you a hint. You do it in water. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but meanwhile, what we're here to do is to yak with gardeners about gardening. And Java, you say we got some folks on the line? Bring it on.
Yeah, for us to be our very first time doing hour 2, we have phone calls already ready. They were waiting on you, Felder. Here's Marvin from Purvis.
Marvin, what's going on down in South Mississippi?
Good morning. I would like to share something about my garden, and I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
I am kind of successful with the winter garden. What I do is I start around the 1st of October, start planting multiplier onions, garlic, and around the end of November, I start with cabbage, broccoli, But this time everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
And
you have
so
you have
that's
cover over your gardens. You have covers.
I'm sorry.
Do you have covers like plastic cover if it gets cold?
No. The onions and the cilantro, they withstand the cold.
Yeah. It's okay on the garlic.
The garlic, the multiplier onions also withstand very good.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that. The same thing with the cabbage. Cabbage, we have a couple cold nights and they survive very good.
Yeah. Cabbage, broccoli, those kind of plants. Next year, you might want to try planting those a little bit earlier. They'll produce better before it gets too cold. They'll do okay in South Mississippi, but you also may want to set up a little hoop where you can put some plastic over them during just a cold spell and uncover them when it's not so cold because they don't like hard freezes. So if you could do that, you could get them right through the wintertime.
Okay. Now, my next item is, I mulch the pine straw and the leaves. And I make the rows about 2 feet wide where I plant, and I make 1 foot where I walk. So that's where I put that's where I put the mulch. So by the end of the year, everything is compost. And then I use that for the next year. Now, the question that I have is the cypress mulch. Can I use that in the garden?
Yeah.
There's no problem with that. The acid of the cypress mulch.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a myth. Pine straw is not that acidic. It's sort of a myth. We just assume that it's acidic because pines like acid soil, but they really don't. Leaves of any kind, it's really not that big a deal. The biggest problem with the pine straw is it's covered with it's waxy and it doesn't break down very quick. So to use it as a mulch, if you could run the lawnmower over it first or break it up into smaller pieces, it's a lot more effective and it'll decompose, it'll compost better. So if you could break it up, or let it set aside for a year till it's partly broken down. But fresh pine straw, it tends to pack up and it packs down. It doesn't decompose as quick unless you break it up. And if you can mix it with other leaves, that's perfect. That's perfect.
That's what I do. I just run the mower and very fine that. Yes.
Yeah, but
now,
it's not a problem. It's not a problem of them being acidic. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah. Now, my next question is, I am not successful with tomatoes, and I want to start preparing the area where I am going to plant the tomatoes. What should I do, and when will be the best time to plant?
Okay, keep in mind that tomatoes and peppers and eggplant, even though they're native to kind of cool parts of South America, they like warm weather, warm soil. They don't really like hot. In the middle of the summer, the flowers fall off of tomatoes. Little tomatoes will fall off tomatoes. Peppers, they shut down when it gets in the mid-90s. So they produce better earlier and also later. So what I would do is I would get your plant started. Let's wait until the end of March, really the 1st of April, before you put them in the ground. Because your raised beds warm up a little bit more quickly. But if you can wait until the ground is warm and the rain is warm, they'll grow a whole lot better. If you put them out too early, they look okay, but they get stunted. So if you wait till late March, even April before you plant them. And then another thing is start you a second crop. Instead of trying to keep those tomatoes alive all summer, start you another crop in July, and in early August, put you a second crop out. Those plants will grow sturdier, stockier. They grow good in hot weather. And when they start flowering and producing, it'll be late September, October, November. They'll produce beautifully when it cools off. So try to grow 2 crops instead of 1 long crop, and don't get too early to start it. Anyway, as long as you plant by the first week in August, you can get good tomatoes and peppers before frost. Good ones, better than what you planted in the spring.
Yeah, I what I did is I planted early March, and the plants are
early.
so beautiful. And then I got the first tomatoes, and then one by one the plants are dying.
Yeah. If the ground is, the weather may feel good to us, but if the ground is cold and we have cold rains, that causes root problems. Sometimes that leads to diseases. So planting too early, the plants look fine, but their roots are, it's like their feet are in ice water. It doesn't matter what your head is like, your feet are in ice water. Another thing to keep in mind is when you plant stuff, don't plant in the same spot. When you plant tomatoes here one year, put them somewhere else next year. Move plants around so that if a disease builds up, it's not going to stay in the soil. Plant beans where you had tomatoes, and then tomatoes where you had beans. And, in other words, different crops in different areas of the garden. Don't plant them in the same spot every year.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, hey, let us know. It sounds fun, but spread the season out. And also look at kale. See if you can find some blue kale to plant in the wintertime. It is a superfood, and it loves cold weather.
Okay. I appreciate it.
As a matter of fact,
thank you.
Hey, while you're there, are you watching on live stream or listening?
Listening.
Okay, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to put a picture up of this. But matter of fact, they can do it while we're talking. Picture number 5 is a type of kale called blue kale, lacinato blue kale, sometimes called dinosaur kale. I know you can't see it, but if you remember blue kale or dinosaur kale, it is a beautiful plant, and it will not die in the wintertime. It has loads and loads of really nutritious leafy greens. So anyway, that's something to look for next year.
Felder, you're going to be you are a kale evangelist or kale.
And you know what, Java? I don't even like to eat it.
Oh Lord, man.
But I grow 5 different kinds of okra, and I don't like to eat okra. I just like to grow plants because they're pretty, and I could eat them if I wanted to, if I had to. I ain't gonna go hungry, but if I have to have kale and okra, I'll eat kale and okra.
Now let's keep on.
They're pretty plants.
Let's keep on these phones, man, because they're lining up for hour number 2.
All right.
This is Daniel. Not sure exactly where Daniel's calling from, but the Mississippi-Alabama state line.
Okay, Daniel, that could be anywhere. It could be state line Mississippi, which I think really is state line Alabama.
Well, we're right in the edge of Alabama, Mississippi state line, Tishomingo County, right south of Belmont.
Hey, you're not very far from the Coondog Cemetery.
I drive right by it about once a week, every now and then. So,
okay. You were in what I call you're in the boondocks then. What's up?
Yeah, I got a couple. Actually, I could give you 10 questions, but I know you have other callers, so I'll give you 2 and call back later about my potatoes. But and actually, I've got pecan trees. They were planted in 1974 by my dad. And the things put out great. They done great for years and years and years. And what sparked my call today, you had another caller talked about the tornadoes. And so when the tornadoes came through in 2011, the trees were loaded down in tassels, and it blew all the tassels off the trees. We have not got a pecan off the trees since, not a one. And so last year I've had the local people come out, the county extension people come out and look, and we tried all kinds of stuff. Nothing's worked. I found an old newspaper clipping last year. It talked about putting zinc out around the tree in January, about this time of January, and then come back in February and put a nitrogen out. And I did that and had stunning results as far as tassels. First time we've had tassels.
Yeah.
But the tassels all fell off, and we still didn't get a pecan. And I done the same. It's a 2-part question, so I done the same thing to my peach trees, and they did great, and actually broke my limbs, which I got to graft them back on. That's my second question. So any suggestions?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, those tassels are the male flowers. The female flowers are what become pecans. They're separate. Same thing with oak trees. So the tassel is just the male pollen, and if the tassels come out, if you get a heavy rain, washes all the tassels are going to fall off no matter what. But what they're supposed to do is shed pollen in the wind, and it blows around and lands on the female flowers, which become the pecans. So whether they shed the pollen or not, they're going to shed not long after they come out. It's just a male flower. They're always going to shed. So if you've got them, the main thing is you got about 2 weeks or so. If it rains real heavy a time or two, it can wash all the pollen off that normally blows around the wind. That's just one of the I was raising pecan grove, and just something happens every now and then. The zinc does help pecans, but they don't need much, and it lasts for 3 or 4 years. You don't have to do this every year. And what you do is you put it out under the outer spread of the branches, not a bunch of holes and stuff. If you put zinc out every 3 or 4 years, that's more than enough. Most dirts have plenty of it. Nitrogen, I would wait until March or April, because you want the fertilizer to get on the roots, and roots don't start growing until the soil warms up. So when you put out nitrogen in February, a lot of it washes away before roots can absorb it. So I'd put the nitrogen out a little bit later, and zinc just every few years, if at all. I bet you could have a soil test. You got plenty of zinc. I'm suspecting the tassels falling off is just because of bad weather. If it's really, really hot and dry the fall before, the flowers don't form very well, and that's what a tassel is. Same thing with any kind of tree. So if you have a really hot, dry summer and fall and dry, they may not form, the tassel may not form in the twig. If it gets really, really wet or hard free, a lot of things can affect that. But anyway, the tassels are designed to shed pollen and fall off within a couple of weeks.
Okay. Well,
So
this last year was
it might just be bad weather. Might just be bad weather is what I'm saying. And plus, I'm going to throw this out. Your trees are kind of old. Pecan trees can live for 100 years, but they don't produce very well. Once they get a little bit older, they can kind of shut down a little bit. So it might be your trees are just getting a little bit old. I'm from a pecan growing family.
Okay, that's the best advice I've heard. We haven't had tassels at all since 2011 until this past year when we done the zinc and the nitrogen. That's the first time. So that's why I thought we were gonna have a bumper crop, and then one storm got all the tassels. So you're correct that they came through, and I'm just kind of figuring out why we got tassels back. We hadn't had them since the tornadoes, and I thought I was, my simple mind was thinking they had something to do with the production of the pecans.
Well, the tassels are just male flowers, pollen flowers. That's all they are. If the tree's not producing them at all, the tree is under some kind of pretty severe stress. It's not forming them because the buds for those tassels form in the fall before they go dormant. Just like the flower buds for blueberries, they're there in the fall whether you see them or not. So either bad weather or the hurricane, the storm, the tornado, it may have swayed them so much. Pecan trees can get cracks in the limb. They got real, you spent most of your life dragging pecan limbs out because they drop limbs all the time. It's real weak wood. It gets cracks. If a wind blows around, they get cracks and all. Sometimes you get diseases in there that just weakens a tree. So
that makes sense.
It's just pure guessing.
That makes sense. It was more than one tree. It was a total of 3 trees that did the exact same thing. So I'll move on. I got other callers. My peach trees, they're only three years old. They done great, but it done so great that I had a couple of limbs break. They still produce peaches, and I harvest them. So my question is now, but while the South is down, do I need to prune these? These are big limbs. I need to prune these limbs off. I've been told both ways to prune them, or I've been told to bind them back up. I don't know what's correct.
No, once they split, that you kind of, then I could grow back together. Always going to be broken. So if a branch breaks or splits or something, go ahead and just get rid of it because it's not going to fix itself. But to answer your question, all fruit growers, all peach growers thin their trees really hard. You can look at a peach tree in an orchard and it looks like a hand that's holding a ball up in the air, but the ball isn't there anymore. They cut the middle out. They leave just a few main limbs, and then they leave a bunch of branches on those main limbs. But anything that's growing in or cluttered or big and tall, they cut it back. So it looks like, it's like, it's just a good haircut. Every year they thin out the clutter, they cut the tall stuff back, and that helps them produce fruit better, bigger fruit, less likely to break the tree. So thinning the clutter and the tall stuff is just something every fruit grower does. When you do that, though, don't leave a stub. You're gonna cut something off, cut it right where it grows. Don't leave a stub. That'll rot.
Okay. thank you so much. I'll take your advice. I'll call back at a different time. I'll get some other callers on. I've got questions I can ask you for days. Enjoy. First time I've heard the show today. I will definitely be listening and call back later, man. Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it. Thank you, man. I'll guess with the best of them.
Well, appreciate you calling, Daniel. We are, I assume, hitting a lot of people for the first time today. Felder, let's take a break, man. We've been rocking and rolling. We do have some more callers. Elizabeth, Dennis, Patricia. It's going to be a real quick break, so just hold on. Don't go anywhere, and we'll come back to them.
All righty, then. The only other thing I got to show is sometime about how to grow a daffodil in a pot. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener folks. Java, this is great. It's great. Just got to calm down. Just relax a little bit. Breathe in and breathe out. And we're going to have, even though it's the middle of the winter, we're still talking about gardening. So we got on the break yet? Oh, still got 10 seconds. Okay. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us. We'll be back with more right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated go on about their business. Care less.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie folks, welcome back again. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, my awesome producer Java Chapman. Java, we're rocking and rolling, aren't we, man?
Yeah, well, let's. I told you the screen door will not stay closed today. Let's talk to Dennis in Clinton.
Hey, Dennis. Good morning, sir. What's up?
Morning. How you doing? I'm having trouble when I plant stuff in pots to where the ants get in them.
Oh yeah, me too. It's a couple of things. You talking about vegetables or flowers, or is it a lot of pots or just a few pots?
Well, just in general, planting, plant vegetables and different. In fact, I had 2 tomato plants that I had started with suckers, and so I potted them and I left them outside because the weather was pretty well comfortable. But when I brought them inside, I realized I had ants all in them.
I'm scratching my knuckle. Are these fire ants or just little black ants?
I guess just regular black ants.
Yeah, ants. They like this. It's a good place to have a nest. Fire ants are the worst because they like to build up above the ground where it's warm and moist and all. So fire ants are the worst. Little black ants, for one thing, they're not harmful. They bother us, but they're not that harmful. 2 things you can do, and I do these myself. One is, if you got pots that get ants in them, if you get you some little rocks, or they call pot feed, or smash up some tin cans, set them on something just up off the ground an inch or so. Either 3 rocks or 3 crushed up cans or something. Get them up off the ground. It'll drip out of the hole better, but the ants are less likely to make their way up there than if it's sitting on in direct contact with the dirt. That'll help a little bit. But when they get in there, there are some insecticides you can use that are safe for vegetables that you can use on ants. You mix it up just a little, does not take much at all to kill ants. It just really doesn't take much. But the trick is mix it with a lot of water and water your plants with it. A good bit of water with a little insecticide that's labeled for use on ants in the garden, and that'll take care of them pretty quick. Main thing, not too strong, and use plenty of water, and usually that'll do the job. But if you can learn to live with it, I know inside it's a real pain, but the little black ants, they irritate us more than they hurt plants.
All right. Well, I sure do appreciate you taking my call.
Okay. Good luck on it.
Yes, sir.
I wish we could just pick them up and just eat them. Wouldn't it be great if ants were like little bits of sugar, but they're not.
Side note. Over the Christmas break, my family and I, we went to New Orleans and we went to the aquarium, and they also have an insectarium with the butterflies and stuff like that. But one of the stations were about edible insects. And they had a like a chocolate chip cookie, which had, I think, a little bit of a beetle in it, and then they had like
but no ants.
No ants. Well, I don't know, because they had a salsa, and it maybe had an ant or a piece of a caterpillar or something in there. It's just when you talked about eating the ants, it made me think of that.
Did they have the giant hissing roaches?
Yeah, the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Yeah.
I used to grow those. You pick them up and they. Had Java Jr. handle all that.
Oh, well, he kind of breezed through the insects. He did like the butterfly garden, but he was all about the aquatic mammals, as he would say.
Of course. Okay, who else we got? Who we got holding?
Yeah, we got Patricia from Brandon on the line.
Hey, Patricia, good morning. Is it raining?
Good morning. Yes, it is a heavy sprinkle. Thank you, Felder and Java. Y'all do such a wonderful job. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
My question is how often this happens. I had last year my really large, what we call Thanksgiving cactus was fully in bloom right on Thanksgiving. It was tremendous. It was something to see. Well, it's so heavy I can't move it inside, and so I have had it out in the garage through all the cold winter weather, and so it wasn't putting on blooms. But I thought, well, maybe by Christmas, but it did not by Christmas. Now, in the last few days, some blooms are coming out. The buds are coming out, which I thought, well, maybe this is going to be for Easter. Does this happen, or was it because of the cold weather? And that's all I have, and thank y'all so much.
Yeah, first of all, Patricia, and congratulations. I can't. I'll just show other people. I killed one. This is some of mine right there. They died. Tried to root them. What we call Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter cactus normally bloom in the springtime in May in Brazil, where they're native. So we just call them that because some kinds bloom earlier than others, typically around Thanksgiving for us. Some bloom a little bit later. We call those Christmas cactus. They have nothing to do with Easter or Christmas. It's just in our part of the world. And some that bloom the longest, the latest, we call those Easter cactus. So those are just words. They bloom according to whether they think they're back home or not. And that means the temperatures are warm, but not too hot, a little bit on the dry side. So when the days get shorter and it stops raining as much, or you forget to water a time or two, the combination of shorter days, cooler nights, and less water, a lot of times that's what stimulates their flowering because they think this is spring back home. So anything that affects the temperatures, the moisture, and the day length is going to affect whether they set flowers or not. So one thing you might want to consider doing is start rooting some of those pieces. I'd wait till springtime. Right now they're going through a rest period. Let's wait till spring and root and start you some more, and then maybe even get to the point where you can take your big one out of the pot, saw it in half, and have two smaller pots. Even if you have to give it away to somebody, master gardeners, church members, neighbors, whatever. But sooner or later, these plants that normally grow in trees, like Spanish moss, they literally grow in trees in the tropics. When they get that big, they split off and go in every different direction. So make them think that they got some room to grow and spread it around a little bit. If you try to keep the same plant alive in the same pot for a long time, sooner or later, it's going to crowd itself out, just like too much Spanish moss on one limb.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That I need to do that then because it's so large. Thank you, Felder. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, try not to keep it too wet right now. Let's see what happens. Good luck on it.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Java, nobody asked me stuff like this at the pub. Weird stuff like why they call it Christmas cactus. Anyway, this is the chance for me to stretch a little bit. So who we got now?
All right, one more caller before a break, and I promise we will play a cheesy tune. This is who did we just talk to? Was that Elizabeth?
We called it Patricia.
Patricia. Okay, well, this is Elizabeth from Brandon. Both of them are from Brandon.
Hey,
yeah.
Elizabeth, what's going on in Rankin County?
Hey, I just moved into suburbia last year, and there were a couple of planters already in the backyard. And I don't know much about gardening, but would it be worth to try growing Brussels sprouts back there?
You could. Is it plenty of sunshine? Got a lot of sun?
Oh, yeah, full sun.
Yeah, Brussels sprouts and collards and broccoli and cabbage are growing exactly alike. They're the same. They're just different variety of the same kind of plant. They like a long, cool season. So if you'll get started in March or so, then they may have time. They won't freeze. They'll have time to produce before it gets too hot. But most people grow Brussels sprouts by starting the plants in late July or August, setting them out in September or October, and then they'll produce before it gets really hard freezes in December. So if you get little plants, and don't push them with a lot of fertilizer, but give them a little fertilizer 2 or 3 times. Keep them actively growing. Small plants that are kept actively growing will always produce better than those that get a little too dry, or you start off with leggy plants to begin with. But they do a whole lot better if you plant them in the late summer than in the wintertime.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's a start. And by the way, put you something else out there with them, just in case they don't make it. Still got something to keep you smiling.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Java, I sent a couple of tunes, and both of them I thought real hard about what tunes would I play this first time we did 2 hours, and I don't know which one you're going to play. And I know people on the podcast can't hear it, but what are people on the live stream about to hear?
Well, the people on the or over the broadcast, because on YouTube we have to be careful about our copyright rights, but they're going to hear "Thank you for being a friend." We're saying thank you for tuning in to 2 hours of the Gestalt Gardener.
Yeah, we'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener, and I still hope we get a chance to talk about the daffodils that I'm starting indoors. Hope we get a chance to talk about these because it's real easy, and daffodil bulbs are cheap at the garden centers right now. Anyway, I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, Java Chapman, all the other folks at Mississippi Public Broadcasting. We're glad you joined us today. And we're going to take a real quick break and come back with more of your calls, maybe a little about daffodils, maybe a little gin or vodka with them right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we've got I want to share a couple of things with you, and we've got some pictures. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you want to go to YouTube or mpbonline.org and check out the Gestalt Gardener, you can see these pictures anytime. I want to start out with a picture of daffodil that's on my desk right now. This is picture number 11. If you put picture number 11, you can see what my little desk, my little studio in England looks like. I've got my laptop, but also got a couple of things related to daffodils. And this is what my desk looks like right now, in a little bit of small thing. But if you put up picture number 12, I've got this type of bulb. Some people call it narcissus. Some people call it daffodil. Some people call it jonquil, whatever. Narcissus are all daffodils. All daffodils are narcissus. Well, this is a large cup daffodil. It's got a big old cup, that trumpet looking thing. That's what most people think of. Well, there's other kinds of daffodils, including a little one, picture number 13. This is the one that's called tete-a-tete. And tete-a-tete, it's a little small one, and every flower stem has got 2 flowers. That's what tete-a-tete means. Got 2 little flowers. The reason I want to mention that is because tete-a-tete can be grown indoors in water, and you get flowers like in 3 weeks. Picture number 14 is the one I want to show, though. This is Mardi Gras beads in a glass bowl, and I've got a type of flower in it, daffodil, called paper white. Paper whites and tete-a-tete are both small flowers. Anyway, what I did was I put these in little bowls. I didn't have any gravel. I got to have gravel to make them stand up, and I didn't have gravel, but I had Mardi Gras beads, and I nestled the bulbs in the Mardi Gras beads, and when they started growing root, I put just enough water to touch the bottom of the bulb, and when they started growing roots, the roots started tangling in with the Mardi Gras beads or gravel, and it helped them stand up, and they start to bloom. Now, here's what I want to share with you today that's a little bit different. By the way, this is what it looks like. If you want to give it a try, let me see if I can get a picture of this here. Where is it? I can't find it. Here we go. If you'll see, this is what they look like when they're growing in water. You see, I got the bulb, got the roots, and the water. If you'll do that, they'll bloom within like 3 or 4 weeks. But now here's the kicker. This is the part that's the most interesting to me. If you put a little alcohol in the water, and when I say alcohol, just a little bit, whether you want to go with something like vodka or gin or rubbing alcohol, it only takes like 1 part rubbing alcohol to 10 parts water. That's it's not much at all. Much more than that's going to burn the roots and the bulbs. 1 part rubbing alcohol to 10 parts water, or 1 part gin or vodka, a clear liquor, in 10 parts of water. If you'll start putting that in the water, then what they'll do is they'll bloom same time, same flower, same fragrance, but they'll only be 6 or 8 inches tall instead of long and tall, long and legged. This is what I've got some starting. See the roots coming out already. This is kind of thing where if you'll go ahead and give this a try, you can get these going and have them in bloom.
Pull it back a little bit, Felder. Pull it back, because it's there. You can pull it back a little bit more.
Okay, there we go.
There, yeah.
I was reading my notes, I couldn't see it. Anyway, this is the bowl, and it's got bulbs in it. You can see the roots are growing out. But if you'll do that, or in something like this, then they'll bloom within 3 or 4 weeks, just like normal, but nice and compact. Again, this is Cornell University research. It's not just somebody with a bunch of leftover bathtub gin or some hooch that they made at home. This is actual research that makes them compact and bloom. It's just one of those oddball little horticulture tricks. But right now, tete-a-tetes, paper whites are on sale in garden centers. So go get you 1 or 2 or 3, a handful, and try these. The only drawback is about half the people who grow paper whites think they smell great. And Java, you may remember a time I brought some into the studio. About half the people think they smell like cat pee. So just beware of that if you're not familiar with that.
It's I guess it's all a matter of perspective.
That's right. And see, some people say it smells. I say, eau de feline. A little behind the ears. Sorry about that. Anyway, have we got any callers?
No, we don't have any callers yet. We still got Kevin Farrell back there, ready to, line them up if we get them to come through. But I did want to mention a YouTube comment. We got a question from YouTube. You ready for it?
I get, bring it on.
Okay, this is, I believe, now I'm showing my age because I got to bring the screen up to my face.
That's what I've been doing. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm having a juggle between screens. I'm going to write my notes down next week.
Okay, let's see. This is Becky, and she asked, can I propagate a chestnut tree from seeds/nuts found on one? I found one in my neighborhood. If yes, how and when do I start the process?
It's a good question, and the wind is in the fall. This is, they grow from seeds. That's, the seeds are in that little nut. The seed is in that little covered nut, just like a pecan is in a husk. So usually what happens is you get the seed out of that husk, and it has to be exposed to cool temperatures that's above freezing and below 45 for several months, and exposed to they have to go dormant. They have to be moist and cool. You can do that by putting in the refrigerator in a plastic bag with some barely damp paper towel for humidity, and then plant them in the spring, or else put them in a pot and set them outside where a squirrel won't get it. And they usually get that temperature over the winter naturally. We've got to get the seed, which is the nut, out of that husk and expose it to what it's thinking is cool, moist winter. So that's how you do it. Same thing with dogwoods, magnolias, all those. You got to get the little seed out. Peaches, got to get a seed out of the fruit and expose it to winter temperatures, and then it'll sprout.
Well, there you go, Becky. I hope that works for you.
Did you get a YouTube thing about about kale from somebody?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Margie Harrelson, who is always, and we appreciate you so much, Margie, in the YouTube comment showing love, and she said, "I love kale, raw slices or raw thin slices in green salad. It is wonderful, cooked with smoked pork neck bones / ham hocks." What you know about them neck bones and ham hocks, Margie? Just like collards, turnips, and mustard greens. And she put a little green heart in the in the comments.
Yeah, and something I read, Gary Bachman, I mentioned Gary Bachman, he's a professor emeritus at horticulture at Mississippi State, and he lives in Ocean Springs. He put a recipe on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook about what he does. He cuts the kale, gets that mid-rib out, and he takes the side and sort of shreds them up a little bit, and he sprinkles, I think he said a little salt and pepper, I can't remember. Anyway, he drizzles them a little bit of olive oil, and he barely bakes them. They get some crunchy, and he uses them, just like crunchies, just like chips. So he makes kale chips. And I wonder if maybe he could do that with some Tabasco in it.
Oh, yeah, you probably can get real creative and, add your different kind of spices and flavors and stuff. Yeah, so shout out to Gary, man.
All righty. And by the way, you said one time you've actually make cauliflower and make like chicken wings out of cauliflower.
Yeah, once upon a time I did that. And it wasn't, I'm not even going to lie, it wasn't that bad. Anything with enough sauce on it is going to be okay.
Yeah, that's the thing, roadkill. Thank goodness for ketchup.
Now, we do have a caller, Mike from Meridian, just called in. But before we get to Mike, one more YouTube comment, and it's from Maggie from Chattanooga. So Shout out to Maggie and good morning. What advice would you give for starting an asparagus patch this spring?
Oh, good idea. Start digging the dirt now, as soon as you can. Dig the dirt over 2 or 3 times. Each time it gets a lot easier and better. Mix a little organic matter in it and order your crowns. It looks like clumps of monkey grass. Plant them a little bit deeper, not as deep as they say they do up north, but plant them where they have 3 or 4 inches of dirt beneath them and 2 or 3 inches above it. Plant them and then cover them up with mulch. Let those stalks come up through that mulch and then leave them alone for a whole year. And I would fertilize it with cottonseed meal, which is natural, it's slow acting, it's the right kind of nutrients, but also has protein for worms, which will really dig the dirt around it. So dig your dirt good 2 or 3 times, plant them a little bit shallower than the book says, which is written by Northerners, and then mulch them really good. And then next fall, when they start down, put some daffodil bulbs in them. So you have daffodils in the winter and spring, and then asparagus the rest of the time. That's what I would do. Boom.
Mike drop. And speaking of mics, let's go to Mike in Meridian who wants to join the show.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for joining us, man. What's up?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Hey, it's a repeat call. About 5 years ago, I called in to ask about a hedgerow for a privacy hedge. I've got it up and running. You pointed me towards the green fuchsia, the giant arborvitaes.
Yeah. How are they doing?
My question now is, they're doing great, actually. Some of them are a little too shaded, so they're only about 6 or 8 feet tall. I've got others that are up over 10 feet. And that's my question, is when can I start topping them?
Well, it's a good question. Evergreen conifers don't really like to be topped. They don't prune as well as broadleaf plants like ligustrum and hollies and things like that. So you can top them whenever you want to get the size you want, but it's not the best thing to do. Luckily, these won't keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so they may be just about topped out to as big as they're going to get. So you might want to see if you can just stand them that tall. It'd be better to not prune them if you can, but you can do it anytime. Let me also throw out one caveat. We've learned something since then. We're starting to have a lot of problems with the arborvitaes, the different kind of conifers, with root diseases and leaf diseases because of changing climate, with different weather. Having a lot of those start having trouble. You might want to consider now, starting ahead of time, putting some different kinds of plants in with them as insurance down the road. You don't have to have a wall that's all one kind of plant. If you put in a little gem magnolia, for example, or maybe some native cedar tree, little gem magnolia is not going to get too big, or wax ligustrum, put something like that in with them so you have kind of a mixed hedge. And that way, if something happens to your arborvitaes, if they start browning out little limbs here and there, you got something already coming along their place. So question sort of answered, top them if you got to, but if you can't help it, try not to. And start thinking about putting something else out there in case they start popping out down the road, because they are all over the state.
Well, Mike, he dropped off as soon as he asked this question. So hopefully you helped him.
Well, bye then. Hey, I had one other picture I want to show. I don't think I even have it anymore. I don't think I even know where that picture is, but I had a really fun picture I want to talk about. And
was it the one for you and Malcolm and Carol? Was it that one?
Well, no, but at the same time, we were talking about eating stuff and Deep South dining. Is it Sunday afternoon? When is it now?
Well, see, now this is a great time to announce one of the programming changes. It comes on at 4 p.m. every Monday.
Okay, so they're still on Monday then.
Mondays at 4 p.m. and then the rebroadcast Sundays at 9 a.m.
Well, I have a picture of them, picture number 10. I did a little segment with them late last year, and we're going to run it as an interview here on this program. But I got a picture of Malcolm and Carol and me outside my pickup truck, and we're looking at all the different kind of stuff we're going to the back of a pickup truck that they can eat. So anyway, we're going to try to work in. We're going to have interviews starting next week. We're going to try to work in folks like Malcolm and Carol and some of the other local program hosts in Mississippi Public Broadcasting. That'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, and one thing I did want you to kind of expound on as we are wrapping up the show, we still have some time for some callers. So if you want to join, 1-877-MPB-RING, 1-877-672-7464. But the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page, you've been talking about some of the people who are in that group, who are from really kind of all around the country, but also are, tied to Mississippi gardening and kind of want to be on the show.
Yeah, I've got, there's probably 40 or 50 people out of the thousands that are on there that I know personally. I've been to their gardens, and they've got really interesting angles and different insights that are different from mine, but they're still really good ones. And I'd love to get them on there to talk about their experiences, because this is a community effort. This Mississippi gardening thing is a community. Well, Gestalt Gardener's community. So it just makes sense to kind of mix them together. By the way, I've got a joke for Kevin, this sort of a Deep South dining joke. You ready for it?
And Kevin gave you a thumbs up about the invisible ink in your daughter. He was like spot on, Felder.
Here's one. This is the Deep South dining horticulture. Someone suggested I put horse manure on my strawberries. Well, I'm never doing that again. I'm going to stick with whipped cream.
Oh, wow. That one took me fast.
Okay, just want to say we're trying to keep it real here.
Well, I was going to say we have another, like I said, we have a few more minutes if you want to make a phone call, but we just got another YouTube comment, and it's a question. Gabe from Mobile, he has said, I've tried growing breadseed poppies in my flower beds the last few years, but I've only gotten a handful to sprout and none to grow large and bloom. Felder, do you have any tips?
Yeah. Did he say when he planted the seeds?
No, let's see. It said I've grown breadseed poppies on my flower beds the last few years. No, it didn't say when he planted them.
Yeah. Poppy in Mississippi, poppy seeds need to be sown in the fall. I sow mine in October, November. Mine make nice little seed, those little poppy ball heads, and I sow them in late October, September, late October, November, and the little plants are already about an inch, half inch, an inch. They grow better over the winter. They get big in the spring. They bloom, set seeds, and then die. So that's an overwintering plant. We've got quite a few other things like that: snapdragons, larkspur, a lot of our wildflowers, like black-eyed Susans. They grow over the winter. So next time, start the seeds in the fall. Let them go with the wintertime. That'll help a lot.
All right, we got another call. You ready?
Yeah, let's bring it on.
All right, Jim from Ocean Springs. Good morning.
Hey, Jim. Good morning.
Hi, Felder. Yeah, I have a question. I have some crepe myrtles. The bark is going to turn like a dark black color. They sprouted some leaves during the fall and summer season, but they started to turn black. Is there anything I could do to treat that, or is that a disease?
No, there's a couple of things. The black stuff is called sooty mold, sort of like soot, and it's growing on something else. The mold that mold will still, if you put a drop of a syrup on your kitchen counter and leave it there, it'll grow the same mold. So it's growing on the sticky drippings from insects that are on your tree. The insects suck sap. They partially digest it. What comes out the other end of the bug, how they drip, trees always dripping? That's bug dew. Anyway, it's got dissolved plant sugars in it, and it gets sticky, and then the black mold grows on that. So the problem isn't the mold. The problem is the insects dripping sap. There's two things that'll do it. Aphids, which are normal insects, they do this a lot on crepe myrtles and gardenias. So you'd have to spray the trees a couple of times in the mid to late summer for that, spray the leaves. But look on the trunk and the limbs. If you see tiny little black things, I'm talking about white things, tiny little crusty white things on there. That's a new insect called crepe myrtle bark scale. It's a bad one. It started showing up a few years ago. It is wiping crepe myrtles out. Won't kill the trees. It makes them look bad. You see these tiny little white bumpy things that rub off. That's crepe myrtle bark scale. The only control for that is to use a liquid insecticide, something you mix with water, you pour it around the roots, the plant absorbs it through the roots, moves it up into the tree, and when the scale or the aphids bite the tree, it kills them that way. In other words, it's an inside-out poison. It's called systemic insecticide, Every garden center knows exactly what you're looking for. It only works if you put it out in the spring when the trees leaf out, so it gets pulled up into the tree. And it lasts for a year, 2, sometimes 3 years. But if you see the little white, crusty, bumpy things, crepe myrtle bark scale, go to a garden center, get the liquid systemic insecticide, mix it with a lot of water, pour it around the roots in the springtime. And that'll take care of it for this year, next year, maybe even 3 years. It's a tough one.
Oh, great. Great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good. And if you want to just Google crepe myrtle bark scale, they all say the same thing. Bottom line is live with it, or call them, black crepe myrtles or whatever, or get the systemic insecticide. That's all you can do. This stuff is so bad, it was dripping onto my pink flamingos, and my pink flamingos turned black. I'm not making this up.
Felder, if you can believe it. No, go ahead, Felder. Go ahead.
People they're always talking about how my tree is just dripping. How trees are always dripping stuff. They say, it's just rain. No, that's insect dew. Don't look up with your mouth open.
Oh, Lord.
John, we've had a lot of, man, we gotta settle down starting next week.
I know we both were excited today.
I got several other emails I wanted to get to. We'll get to those next week. But if as far as anything you can do this week, now's the time to think about putting out weed killers. If you don't like winter and spring weeds, too late to put a pre-emerge down, but you can start spraying. Anything to control clover and dandelion will control stickers. And we'll talk about that next week because this is the time to do it. Anyway, hunker down. Hope y'all have good, safe weather. I know it's going to be weird out there. At least it ain't snowing like it is here. And if you get a chance, stop by a garden center, get you a handful of bulbs and put them in a little alcohol and water. See if you can make your house smell like cat pee. Okay, I got to calm down.